Hey, welcome to episode 5 of a Lovely Yarn podcast. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Amber. I am your hostess. And guys, podcasting, I have a new appreciation for it. It takes a long time to get everything set up. Everything has to be just right. The lighting has to be good. The angle of the camera has to be good. I have to make sure I'm not chopping my head off, that the mic's working. So yeah, it's a lot. I kind of have a lot to go over today. I have missed chatting about what I'm doing, and I feel like I've done a lot since I last recorded. I have finished 3 projects, and I've started another one. I have bought some yarn and since put myself on a yarn buying freeze for a little while. I've been spinning a lot. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna jump right in. First I want to tell you that in the opening clip, in the intro to my today's vlog, I featured some pictures, beautiful tulips and other flowers. That was actually filmed. I took my kids to Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens in Pittsburgh. We went there last Wednesday. It is April 10th today, or no, it's the 11th, but it really hasn't felt like spring yet. We've had snow and really cold temperatures and stuff. So we went there because we all just needed a little bit of spring, and it was so nice. And they were having their Sense and Sounds of Spring exhibit. So lots of spring flowers, hyacinths, tulips. What else? I don't know. Lots of lovely flowers. We have a membership, so we've gone multiple times. But they do change it up. They change their exhibits. So it's always really nice to see the new exhibits. And it's really nice to go in those big greenhouses because even though the day we went, it was freezing, it was snowing and spitting like ice, and it was a very gray day, it felt nice inside because a lot of the rooms are warmer and the sun comes in because they're all greenhouse. It's all like lots of windows and everything. So it was really nice. So that's where those pictures were filmed, all the ones with the flowers in it. And then the other photos were just ones that I took around here at our home. So let us talk about, why don't I just talk about what I have finished lately since I last recorded, which I don't know, it was a couple weeks ago maybe. So at that time I gave a little sneak peek of a sweater that I was test knitting for Lerke. I do this every time. Skomager? Yes, so since then it has been released and it is on Ravelry as a pattern that you can purchase, and I have it on. So let me just kind of stand up and you can see it's just got the nice, I think was this a twisted rib? No, it might not. I can't remember now. So, yeah, and it's got the ribbing around the sleeves, and then this yoke. I love, this is my favorite thing about the sweater, the yoke of it. I've been wearing this sweater a lot. I think because it's, well, I don't have a large amount of hand knit sweaters. And this one is a nice neutral color. This was done with Quince & Co. Lark in the Caspian colorway, which is an undyed colorway. And it goes with everything because it's a neutral color. So I've been throwing this on a lot, I've noticed. What I loved about this pattern was that this yoke was not it was not difficult. It was, the chart was, well done, and she linked to a couple of videos, and then the one for this one stitch here, which is like the little twigs. Can't see what I'm doing. She actually has a video that she links to in her pattern that will show you what she means and kind of describe or kind of get into detail a little bit on how to do these per the charts instructions. So that was nice. I found that helpful. But I wore this sweater last week. I went to a knit festival in Pittsburgh, and I got some compliments on it. Just like the simplicity of it, and yet it's beautiful. That's my style. I like the simple yet beautiful looking things. I don't know. I don't have time for a lot of complex knitting right now. I want to do more, but right now I don't have that time, that amount of time where I can sit down and just really focus on complex knitting. So I really like the sweater a lot, and I am planning on doing another one. I think I might have said that. I don't know. I'm getting confused what I had said on Instagram and what I said in my last podcast. But I think the next one I'm going to make, I am going to do a color, because not a crazy color, just like I like earthy tones, so something like that. But yes, loved this pattern. You guys should just go get it and knit it because it's beautiful. And thankfully, this lark, Quince & Co. lark, I'm actually really warm right now. In fact, I'm thinking I'm probably gonna have to take this off. But it's not super, like, it didn't make a super thick fabric, so I feel like I could wear this on the cooler days of spring. Which, what is spring? We haven't even had spring yet. It's been winter. So we shall see. I put this on my Ravelry page, and I believe I think I put notes on there. I'm not very good with keeping that updated, but I did go down a needle size to get gauge with this sweater. But I think next time I knit this, I'm going to actually use the recommended needle size so that it's a little bit roomier, a little boxier. It's not tight at all. Like, it hangs. There's definitely positive ease. But I think I might do that just to have it a little bit looser. It's very comfortable though. Okay, so that was my first and my biggest finished object. While I was test knitting this, I was also test knitting another project. Okay, this was my test knit that I was doing at the same time as the sweater. So this is the Willow lace cowl, and I don't know if Nora released this yet. I think maybe the end of the month this one's coming out, but her name on Instagram is Fox and Folk. I will put all of my notes and links down underneath the video so you can go right to them if you want to see. But this is a beautiful cowl. Isn't that so pretty? Again, very simple to do, not complicated at all. A very easy to understand chart. Or I'm sorry, this one wasn't charted. It was written out. And yet it's so beautiful. And it is a cowl. I'm not even going to put this on my head right now though because I don't want to mess my hair up. But it's beautiful, isn't it? So when this pattern comes out, this is another one that you should knit. And I knitted this in Quince & Co. Owl in the Elf colorway, which is another one of their undyed colorways. The owl base is 50% alpaca, 50% wool. So the alpaca gives a halo, a bit of a halo. But yet the wool gives it a nice stretch. Okay, so that's a really nice blend, the 50-50. And I like this yarn. I like this colorway because it has flecks of brown and black in it. It's just a really pretty, basic neutral color. And I was thinking as I was knitting this that this would just make an excellent gift knit because it required one skein, 200-yard skein of worsted weight yarn, and it did not take me long to do. The pattern repeat, like once you start it, it's not difficult. Phone's ringing. Sorry about that interruption. That was my hubby. He was at the feed store wondering what all we needed for our animals. So I needed to take that. And now I need to make sure that my phone is far away from my microphone, because the very first time I podcasted, maybe it was the second time I podcasted, I had to refilm the whole thing because I didn't realize that my cell phone was interfering with the microphone. And so there was this banging sound through the whole podcast. And I didn't realize it till I was editing it. That was a real bummer. So let me slide my phone far away from me and get back to the Willow lace cowl, which I don't really have much more to say about it other than it's gorgeous. It would make a wonderful, quick gift knit. I think that some people in my family will be receiving this Christmas, and I don't think anybody... First of all, I don't think anybody watches my podcast that I know in life, maybe. Real life. Also, I did just say Christmas, which is ridiculous, but I'm putting this in the back of my mind for some gift knits. Yeah. Okay, my last finished project. Land of Sweets. So I was working on this for just a short time. So this is by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. I didn't write anything down, and whenever I start podcasting, I start to question myself. Am I getting everyone's names right? Am I getting the pattern names right? So I apologize for any hesitation I have. Okay, so mine is done, and this was fun. All 3 knits that I've done lately have been really fun, and I have not had to force myself to work through them or anything because they've all been very enjoyable knits. So I'm just going to lift this up so you can see it. See, it's really long, but it makes, it's nice when you put it on, because it bunches up nice and keeps your neck warm. The thing I loved about this pattern was that it kept my interest because I kept changing colors, and then she also worked in different lace charts every so many rounds. So you didn't really have a lot of just plain stockinette knit. There are some rounds of just plain stockinette, but there's also some charted rounds that are worked in as well, and then each end has a ribbed edging. So this was fun. Again, I recommend this. I put some pops of color in there that I was like, oh no, should I do that? Should I be so bold? Which I know this probably doesn't even look bold to most people, but like that yellow. I really like a gold yellow, which this is a gold yellow, but it was still really bright compared to everything else. And then even this yellow up here, which it's a lighter yellow, but as I was knitting it in, I started to think, oh my gosh, it kind of reminds me of, I don't know why, but a rubber duck. And it's probably not coming across. I think it's coming across much more subtle and subdued on camera than it does in real life. So and then this color here, this is the Anne of Green Gables colorway by Yarn at Home Mom. And when I put it in, I thought, I don't know that I like that, because it's got green and some blues and stuff. But I left it, and honestly, I think that it all just works out nice, and all the colors balance each other, and I like it, and that's what matters, because I'm the one that's going to be wearing this. And when I put it on my neck, I mean, it scrunches, so you don't really see all the rounds anyway. I did take a picture of myself wearing it, and if I remember, I'll try to insert a picture somewhere. So those were my 3 finished projects, and I started another one. Guys, I have so many plans up in my head. Part of the problem is Instagram, because I keep seeing everyone's beautiful patterns and projects, and I think, oh yes, I'm gonna make that too. Or I'll get on Ravelry and I'll start looking through my projects that I've favorited at one time or another, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make that. And actually some of it I've bought the yarn for, so I have it, I just need to do it. But this is something that I actually won as a giveaway 4 years ago. I don't know, it's been a while. It's been a while. I don't remember who was doing the giveaway. Oh my goodness, because it's been a while. So basically I won a pattern in yarn. There goes my yarn ball. The pattern is the Campside Shawl by Alicia Plumer. I think I started this 2 weeks ago, and the yarn that I had won was a baby alpaca blend. Shibu Knits, I believe is what it is. I have the extra skeins down in my yarn room, but so I won this, and I think this was one of Alicia Plumer's first patterns that she ever wrote. I started it with the pattern that had been sent to me, or maybe I had printed it because they had sent me a download code. Anyway, I got into the pattern probably, I think I was somewhere in the first chart, because there's multiple charts for this shawl. Anyway, I'm like, what in the world is wrong with me? I cannot figure this pattern out. I can't figure this chart out. Like, nothing was making sense to me. I was ripping back, starting over, and I'm like, you know, and then I realized maybe it's not me. Maybe there's a errata, and I just haven't looked at it, because this is a really, you know, I won this 4 years ago. So anyway, I got on Ravelry, and after a little bunny trail, I realized that there had been a lot of errata in this particular pattern, and she had actually revised the pattern, revised the charts, made them, in my opinion, oh my gosh, so much easier to understand now. Like, it's such a better experience now. Because honestly, the way it was written originally, I was really disappointed, because I love the look of it, but I thought, I'm going to be so stressed out the whole time, and I don't even know what I'm doing. So I was really glad that I was able to find the corrected version. I think I found it through Pom Pom Magazine's website, because I'm pretty sure that this pattern was originally featured in maybe one of their first editions of that magazine. So I'm curious, have any of you knit the Campside Shawl by Alicia Plumer? And what version did you use of the pattern? I thought I was being so ridiculously stupid that I could not figure out what she was telling me to do in this pattern. I was so perplexed. So I was very happy when I found out that it wasn't me. So here we go. I'm going to show you what I have so far. It's too big for my needles now, though, so I'm not going to be able to stretch it out the whole way. Okay, so it's so hard whenever the project is bigger than the needles. So basically this shawl has a bunch of, the charts are all for these lace sections, and basically what happens is the eyelets start out further apart, and then as you work your way out, they get closer together. And then at the end, I believe there's a rib, like a ribbed edging along the one whole side, or maybe along, I think it's triangular shark, or it's a triangular shark. I believe it's a triangular shawl. I should know that, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm almost 100% sure. So, isn't this a pretty color? Again, it's very neutral and brown, and I don't remember what the color is for this yarn. but it is baby alpaca. It's surprisingly stretchy for baby alpaca, for any alpaca, but it's not as stretchy as wool, because I've noticed when I am knitting with it, it feels, it doesn't have the spring that wool has, but I still really like it, and I think this is going to have a wonderful drape, and I am looking forward to wearing this campside when we have our campfires and stuff, when it gets warm enough to do so. So I am on the third chart. There's 4 charts, and you work through them varying times. And so I'm on the third chart, working through it the first time, and I would have to look and see how many times I have to actually work through that, but I'm enjoying it. It's not hard now that I'm reading the corrected pattern. And I think it's going to make a really nice finished object. So let me get this tucked under. All right. So I suppose that I should talk about, I want to talk about my yarn purchases that I have made. Guys, I've made quite a few. And that is why I've put myself on a yarn buying freeze for a while. I've never thought that I've had a huge stash, but I have to say that my purchasing was getting out of hand, and now I want to just use what I have. Again, the reason when I was buying, most of what I've bought I've had a project in mind. So I've bought with intention of using it for something in particular. But now I need to just stop buying and start making the things that I want to make. So let me show you what I've gotten. The first thing that I purchased since my last podcast was I purchased some yarn and fiber from Caroline. She is from Sweden, and I meant to message her before I filmed this to ask her how you pronounce her shop name as well as her Instagram name, because it's not pronounced the way I would pronounce it in English. Our letters are pronounced differently. I don't even know if we have all the same letters in our alphabets. I'm not familiar with the Swedish language at all. Anyway, her name's Caroline, even though I'm sure she doesn't pronounce her name that way, but that's the American way to pronounce the way she spells it. So again, I will just link her below. Her yarn is beautiful. Her and her partner live in Sweden, and they have sheep, but not only do they have sheep, they also source locally raised sheep and alpaca and Angora to make their various blends of yarn and fiber. So I actually found out about her. Who was it? Knit _pearl on Instagram. She posted something about Caroline, and Caroline is on Patreon, which I never really was interested in, but then I clicked through this link over to Caroline's Patreon page, and I watched her intro video, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to watch her videos. Like, perfect. Just made me feel calm and inspired, and I just loved the whole vibe that she gave off. I could tell like she was very into earthy things and nature and slow living, which is what I really yearn for. Slow living. I feel like I've done so much better with that in the past. Now that my kids are getting older, my life's getting a lot more chaotic, but I can be intentional about creating slow living, you know, in the pockets of time that I have, that I'm not running around. Anyway, so I watched her intro video and I was hooked, and so I subscribed. And her subscription rate is very affordable, and she has just the one. Like, she doesn't, I think a lot of Patreon creators have various levels, and depending on what you pay determines what you have access to. But she just has the one level, which I really appreciated. And I literally watched, oh, it was horrible. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was, because I had things to do. But I watched 16 of her episodes, 17. I don't even know what she's up to now, but I watched a lot of her episodes in a very short amount of time. And honestly, I plan on rewatching at least some of them, because there's so much in them. Like, it's serious eye candy. All the little details. She's very artistic in how she arranges things, and everything that you see during her podcast. I mean, it's just like, I just love it. It's totally my thing. So I really love her videos. But anyway, that's where I got this yarn from. So look at these beautiful. This is this is dyed by Caroline. She hand dyes it. So I told her this is for Mina, which is 80% Angora, 20% fine wool. And I told her that I wanted shades of pink, so she sent me pictures of what she had. So these two match. These two match. Again, they're hand dyed, so they might be off a bit, which makes them special. And then these two darker, a little bit bolder colors with shades of pink and mauve and stuff. So part of these are going to go into a shawl. One of them I'm using to make a hat. I haven't decided which is going to get in the shawl and which is going to make a hat. I think I should have some left over that I eventually want to make a tencho pullover with. I think I'll need 2 of the skeins, so I'll probably go with like the lighter pinks, because I eventually want, hopefully, fingers crossed, can purchase another type of her yarn to make the main body of the sweater, and then use this as the contrast color to do the color work. My plan was I was going to buy that, but then I'm like, no, I need to stop spending. I need to start making before I buy more. So that was the yarn I bought. I also bought a big roll of El Runa fiber. So this is a blend of alpaca, Angora, and fine wool. I love the smell of this. I love the smell of this. This is spinning up extremely tweedy. I love it. I wasn't going to talk about my spinning till later, but I might as well just interject with it right now. So this is one that I have completely done. It's plied. Well, it needs like it's bath, it's steam bath, but it's already been spun and plied. So this to this. And when I started, usually when I spin yarn, I tend to spin on the finer side, but honestly, I let the yarn dictate to me what width, how big it wants to become. Does that make sense? I feel like I can tell when I start to draft, like I can feel what the wool prefers. And so this is, it's a thick and thin because like I said, it's tweedy in places. There's some like neps. There's lots of neps in there. There's even some blue fiber that I just left in, and browns. It's just what came out of here. So I've been spinning this. I have a bobbin of a single here. I have another bobbin of singles that I'm working on my spinning wheel that I'll ply together. And anyway, why did I tell you this? Oh, because I'm talking about what I bought from Caroline. So I think when I was spinning this, I thought, I don't know what I'm going to make. I'm going to have a lot. I'm going to have a large quantity of it, so I could make a sweater. However, my concern is with the Angora and the alpaca. Those are like, that's hair rather than fur. So I was a little bit, and I'm a little bit concerned about it not having proper memory for a garment. And what I mean by that is I'm afraid that, once I wear it for a while, it's going to stretch out and not want to go back to its original form. So I think what I'm going to do is make a shawl with this. Maybe mix this in, although this is definitely thicker than this. I don't know. I think that would look really pretty together, but I'll see. Because if I don't do that, if I don't do a 2-color tone, I'm actually probably going to make either the farmhouse shawl, which I've made 2 of already, but I've given both away. And if not that, maybe a hat of some sort, just like a big wrap. This needs to become something warm and cozy. I really like this. And I love the smell of this. I love how my hands smell after I spin it. I'm really enjoying spinning this. Got fiber up my nose. Okay, so that, and I purchased a Nostopine just to, when I hand wind my skeins of yarn. And then I had also purchased from Caroline Swedish wool. This was 100% Swedish wool. I spun this, but so I ordered the fiber. And it's Tweedy too. I love Tweedy yarns. I think they're one of my favorites. Oh, I just love the rusticness of them. I just love them. So I like this one as well. I am so enjoying spinning lately. And this happens, I think I mentioned this every year. This happens. I transition into spring. As I transition into spring, I start to spin more. Knit less, spin more. So yes, this was my other purchase, but yes, I already spun this. I think I spun this. I think I started it the night I received the package, and then I had it finished the next day. And this has already been in its little steam bath, so this is actually ready to use. Okay, so that was what I had purchased from Caroline. She sent me a little sample of some of her other fibers. She sent me like a teal, gray, and purple that I just spun into this little skein of yarn. And this is, I'm pretty sure this is 100% wool. Okay, so yes, I highly enjoyed that purchase. It arrived and I had been waiting eagerly for it. It came rather fast. I wasn't sure how fast mail would come from Sweden, but it came in at a pretty decent clip. And I was just getting ready to make myself an afternoon coffee when the postman brought it. So I was really excited because I made my coffee and then I sat on the couch and I just opened everything so like slowly and just enjoyed it. Isn't that nice when you can do that? That's how I like to open my yarn purchases. I like to be alone. And I like to be able to enjoy it. And I like to be able to do it slow and just savor it. And that's kind of what I mean, like, about just being intentional about making slow moments in my life. Because there's certain things I can't control as far as how busy I am. But there are things I can. And I can make a conscious effort to slow down, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Okay. Let's move on to some of my other yarn purchases. So, I had a wonderful day out this past Friday. I am about 45 miles away from Pittsburgh, which is our largest city that we have close to us. And every year they have a knit and crochet festival. So I haven't been able to go for probably 4 or 5 years because it always falls on our homeschool co-op day. And again, this year it did. But my wonderful assistant in the class that I teach, she offered to teach for me. So I was able to attend this year, and it was wonderful. I went by myself, which I don't mind doing things myself. I'm a social person, I really am. But I'm also an introvert, and I also like to just be by myself at times. I'm gonna try to pick up where I left off, but honestly, my camera shut off and I'm not really sure where, and I had recorded 20 minutes worth of stuff and I tried to find where I stopped, what I was last talking about when it shut off, but I'm not certain. So anyway, yeah, I was in Pittsburgh by myself for the Knit and Crochet Festival. And I went with the plan to buy yarn for the Aberil sweater by Jennifer Steingass because that is a pattern I've been wanting to knit for a while. And I found it. Shepherd's wool is new to me. I had never heard of this yarn before, but it's from Stonehenge Fiber Mill in Michigan, here in the United States. So I got enough skeins. This is the main body color, so it's called Roasted Pumpkin. Love it, even though I'm not really an orange person. I've never been an orange person. It's like one of my least favorite colors, but I really like this shade. And this will be my contrast color. So nothing fancy, nothing complicated, but I think it's going to be a really beautiful sweater. So I did get that while I was there. And then I bought it. I met a very nice woman. Her name is Dawn. She and her husband have a small sheep farm in, I believe, Ohio. No, that's incorrect. It's somewhere in Pennsylvania. I think it's on the other side of the state or in mid Pennsylvania. Lazy O Ranch, and I'll link her below. I'll link to her Instagram page. But they raise Koopworth sheep, and so she's also an indie dyer as well. So she had some yarn there that was from their own sheep, as well as yarn that she had hand dyed, and she also had some fiber. And her husband does wood turning, and so he had spindles there and yarn bowls and some other really nice, beautiful things made out of wood. So I picked up 4 things at her booth. I picked up this skein of 2-ply worsted, and this is from her sheep. This color is Woodland Rose, and it says Lammy Pie on it, so I'm wondering if that's not the sheep that this came from. I don't know, because I noticed some of the other colors had other names on them, so I'm wondering if maybe that might be why. That might be the name of the sheep that this came from. Anyway, oh gosh, again, the pink. She had just a plain, simple hat that she had knitted out of the same colorway, but with a chunkier yarn, and I really liked it. So I don't know. I bought this not knowing what I'm going to do with it, but I just really loved it. And then while I was there, I also bought these beautiful little skeins from her. This was her hand dyed, and this particular colorway is Snowy Pines. It's 80 merino, 20 nylon, 200 grams each, 250 grams, 200 yards each. So basically one will make one sock, the other will make another sock. I've never knitted like this out of 2 different, like one sock for this skein, one for this. I just usually buy a 100-gram skein of sock yarn and knit like that. So this is kind of nice because I'm always like, oh, I don't want to make it too long because what if I run out of yarn for the second sock? So this kind of takes the guesswork out of that. But I don't know if you can see her little tag. Lazy O Ranch with the little sheep and the leaves on them. Little branches. But yeah, this is so pretty. Such a pretty colorway. And then I just got a little sample of their fiber from their Koopworth Sheep because I've never spun it before. I've never spun Koopworth. So this is just some combed roving that's blue pink and I'm guessing that's probably a natural gray in there, and then she dyed it with the other colors. I think this is only like an ounce. It seems more than an ounce, but I think that's what it is. So I'll spin that up and see what happens, what that looks like spun up. And then I made one other purchase while I was at the Knit Festival, and it was this skein of yarn, which, wow, talk about bright primary colors. This is not amber right here. But I have said before, if I'm going to have crazy colors or bright colors, they're going to be on my feet, my socks that I make. So this gal, I don't know her name, but her yarn company is called Destination Yarn. She's the one that's based out of Ohio. And she basically dyes her yarn she's inspired by her travels, and so she dyes yarn from the inspiration she gets when she's traveling. And this particular colorway is called Lotus Lantern Festival. I would never have bought this seeing it lay there, but she was knitting a sock out of it, and it was knitting up very beautifully, and I was amazed at it. That just goes to show you it's really hard to tell what something's going to look like knit up, because, you know, when you're seeing it as in the skein. So I bought this. She also had 3 colorways there for that were inspired by Pittsburgh. One was coal mines, because, you know, Pittsburgh was real big with, actually not just Pittsburgh, this whole area it's all, you know, it all used to be coal mines. So that she had that, and then PPG Place, which was like blues and stuff. And I said, what inspired you to dye that blue? Because, you know, Pittsburgh is a kind of a gray, it's a very industrial city. Like I wasn't seeing her inspiration for that colorway, but then I found out it was PPG Place, which is an area down in Pittsburgh, and like she was inspired by the glass and stuff with the colors and the reflections from the sky with the glass. And then she had one other one. Oh, Pittsburgh at Night, which was really, really pretty. Yeah, really pretty. And I can't remember. It actually was pretty perfectly named. Pittsburgh is really beautiful at night, and she captured that well. But I didn't even buy any of those. I just bought this one here. So those were my purchases at the Knit Festival. And like I said, now guys, I need to just focus on knitting with what I have. And I need to make this a game, because when I make things a game and I challenge myself, I'm much more likely to actually stick to it. I like to challenge myself. So, have any of you ever went on yarn buying freezes and just knitted exclusively from their stash? Because that's what I need to do. Most of my stash I bought for a specific project. So I have lots of things that I could knit and have for myself and for other people if I would just knit from my stash. I have, I think, Angora on my face. Excuse me while I wipe off my nose. Speaking of Angora, I posted a picture of my one Angora rabbit on my Instagram feed this morning, and she needs a haircut. I think I trim her like 3 times a year, and I'm afraid to trim her though because it's still been really cold. Got major fiber on my lips. So I think I'm going to wait another couple weeks and see what happens, because I hate to trim her and then it get really cold again. Well, it's still really cold. What am I talking about? Although it's supposed to get into the 70s this weekend, but then it's supposed to drop back down into the 30s and 40s next week. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably just wait and trim her. It won't hurt anything. Okay. Well, I think that's it. This is probably going to end up being longer than what I thought. The only other thing I was going to show you was some other spinning. I believe last time I podcasted, I was just doing these as singles. This is my merino. It's done. I don't know how many yards I got. I have already bathed this, and I just need to count. I need to calculate the yardage. And see, here's what I'm talking about when I say the yarn talks to me and tells me what it wants to become, because look how thick this is compared to this. Can I get it close enough to show you? Do you see? it kind of just becomes what it wants to become. And another thing is how it's prepared, because this was roving, combed roving, which is basically the same thing as this. So you have the long, it's already been combed in one direction, okay? The stuff I got from Caroline, this skein that I spun, this came as a large bat. So I've just been kind of, when I'm spinning this, it's going into my wheel all different directions. Not all the fibers are lined up in the same direction. So usually when you do that, you get a more of a woolen spun, but I'm not doing a long draft with that. And that might be a little complicated to get into, since this it's not really a spinning podcast, and I don't know how many spinners actually watch this, but yeah, anyway, this is just a prime example of how yarn just decides what it wants, or fiber decides what it wants to become. So I think you can see I've done a whole lot of spinning lately. So I think that just about finishes it up. Get on there. I sense a giveaway coming. I don't know what it will be. I have some ideas. I have a book that I accidentally purchased 2 of, so I think I'm going to include that in my giveaway, and probably some yarn, because this is a knitting podcast. Maybe some fiber. I don't know. I'm excited to put together a little giveaway, but right now I'm trying to figure out what I want my goal to be before I do the giveaway. Like, do I want to have so many subscribers here, so many followers on Instagram? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I'll let you know when I figure it out. So guys, that is it for my podcast today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions about anything, you can please let me know. You guys commented last time, and oh my gosh, that just made me feel so good. I love to hear your comments. Thank you. So thank you for taking time to do that, because I know that takes a few extra minutes to leave a comment. And if you ever have any content that you'd like me to go over, or maybe you're curious about something, I don't know, our homestead, our animals, spinning, I don't know, let me know, because I would like that, because it would give me more of a focus and direction in preparing my podcast, which I'm kind of willy-nilly with my podcast. But hey, I'm doing it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. So yes, thanks for watching.